Turkish, also referred to as Istanbul Turkish, is the most widely spoken of the Turkic languages, with around 10 to 15 million native speakers in southeastern Europe and 55 to 60 million native speakers in Western Asia. Outside of Turkey, smaller groups of speakers exist in Germany, Bulgaria, Macedonia, Northern Cyprus, Greece, the Caucasus, and other parts of Europe and Central Asia. To the west, the influence of Ottoman Turkish, the variety of the Turkish language that was used as the administrative and literary language of the Ottoman Empire, spread as the Ottoman Empire expanded. In 1928, as one of Ataturk's reforms in the early years of the Republic of Turkey, the Ottoman script was replaced with a Latin alphabet. The distinctive characteristics of Turkish are vowel harmony and extensive agglutination. The basic word order of Turkish is subject, object, verb. Turkish has no noun classes or grammatical gender. Turkish has a strong TV distinction and usage of honorifics. Turkish uses second-person pronouns that distinguish varying levels of politeness, social distance, age, courtesy or familiarity toward the addressee. The plural second-person pronoun and verb forms are used referring to a single person out of respect. Classification. Turkish is a member of the Oghuz group of languages, a subgroup of the Turkic language family. There is a high degree of mutual intelligibility between Turkish and the other Oghuz Turkic languages, including Azerbaijani, Turkmen, Kashkai, Gagauz, and Balkan Gagauz Turkish. The Turkic family comprises some 30 living languages spoken across Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and Siberia. Some linguists believe the Turkic languages to be a part of a larger Altaic language family. About 40% of all speakers of Turkic languages are native Turkish speakers. History. The earliest known Turkic inscriptions are the three monumental Orkhon inscriptions found in modern Mongolia, erected in honor of the Prince Kultijan and his brother Emperor Bilge Khan, and dating back to some time between 732 and 735, as well as Bane Sota inscriptions erected by Tonyukuk, the commander-in-chief, between 720 and 725. They constitute important earliest records. After the discovery and excavation of these monuments and associated stone slabs by Russian archaeologists in the wider area surrounding the Orkhon Valley between 1889 and 1893, it became established that the language on the inscriptions was the Old Turkic language written using the Orkhon script, which has also been referred to as Turkic runes, or runiform, due to a superficial similarity to the Germanic runic alphabets. With the Turkic expansion during early Middle Ages, peoples speaking Turkic languages spread across Central Asia, covering a vast geographical region stretching from Siberia to Europe and the Mediterranean. The Seljuks of the Oghuz Turks, in particular, brought their language, Oghuz Turkic, the direct ancestor of today's Turkish language, into Anatolia during the 11th century. Also during the 11th century, an early linguist of the Turkic languages, Mahmud al-Kashgari from the Kara Khanate Khanate, published the first comprehensive Turkic language dictionary and map of the geographical distribution of Turkic speakers in the Compendium of the Turkic Dialects. Ottoman Turkish following the adoption of Islam c. 950 by the Kara Khanate Khanate and the Seljuk Turks, who are both regarded as the ethnic and cultural ancestors of the Ottomans. The administrative language of these states acquired a large collection of loanwords from Arabic and Persian. Turkish literature during the Ottoman period, particularly Ottoman divan poetry, was heavily influenced by Persian, including the adoption of poetic meters and a great quantity of imported words. The literary and official language during the Ottoman Empire period is termed Ottoman Turkish, which was a mixture of Turkish, Persian, and Arabic that differed considerably and was largely unintelligible to the period's everyday Turkish. The everyday Turkish, known as Kaba Turksa or rough Turkish, spoken by the less educated lower and also rural members of society, contained a higher percentage of native vocabulary and served as basis for the modern Turkish language. Language reform and modern Turkish. After the foundation of the Republic of Turkey and the script reform, the Turkish Language Association was established in 1932 under the patronage of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, with the aim of conducting research on Turkish. One of the tasks of the newly established association was to initiate a language reform to replace loanwords of Arabic and Persian origin with Turkish equivalents. By banning the usage of imported words in the press, the association succeeded in removing several hundred foreign words from the language. While most of the words introduced to the language by the TDK were newly derived from Turkic roots, it also opted for reviving old Turkish words which had not been used for centuries. Owing to this sudden change in the language, older and younger people in Turkey started to differ in their vocabularies. While the generations born before the 1940s tend to use the older terms of Arabic or Persian origin, the younger generations favor new expressions. It is considered particularly ironic that Atatürk himself, in his lengthy speech to the new parliament in 1927, used a style of Ottoman which sounded so alien to later listeners that it had to be translated 3 times into modern Turkish. First in 1963, again in 1986, and most recently in 1995. The past few decades have seen the continuing work of the TDK to coin new Turkish words to express new concepts and technologies as they enter the language, mostly from English. Many of these new words, particularly information technology terms, have received widespread acceptance. However, the TDK is occasionally criticized for coining words which sound contrived and artificial. Some earlier changes, such as BOM to replace Fırka, political party, also failed to meet with popular approval. Some words restored from Old Turkic have taken on specialized meanings. For example, betik is now used to mean script in computer science. Many of the words derived by TDK coexist with their older counterparts. This usually happens when a loan word changes its original meaning. For instance, dirt, derived from the Persian dard, means problem or trouble in Turkish, whereas the native Turkish word agri is used for physical pain. Sometimes the loanword has a slightly different meaning from the native Turkish word, creating a situation similar to the coexistence of Germanic and Romance words in English. Some examples of modern Turkish words and the old loan words are geographic distribution. Turkish is natively spoken by the Turkish people in Turkey and by the Turkish diaspora in some 30 other countries. Turkish language is mutually intelligible with Azeri language and other Turkic languages. In particular, Turkish-speaking minorities exist in countries that formerly belonged to the Ottoman Empire, such as Bulgaria, Cyprus, Greece, the Republic of Macedonia, Romania, and Serbia. More than 2 million Turkish speakers live in Germany, and there are significant Turkish-speaking communities in the United States, France, the Netherlands, Austria, Belgium, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. Due to the cultural assimilation of Turkish immigrants in host countries, not all ethnic Turkish immigrants speak the language with native fluency. However, most linguistic minorities in Turkey are bilingual, speaking Turkish with native-like fluency. Official status: Turkish is the official language of Turkey and is one of the official languages of Cyprus. It also has official status in the Prizren district of Kosovo and 3 municipalities of the Republic of Macedonia. Based on the concentration of Turkish-speaking local population, the Turkish Language Association was influenced by the ideology of linguistic purism. Indeed, one of its primary tasks was the replacement of loanwords and foreign grammatical constructions with equivalents of Turkish origin. These changes, together with the adoption of the new Turkish alphabet in 1928, shaped the modern Turkish language spoken today. TDK became an independent body in 1951, with the lifting of the requirement that it should be presided over by the Minister of Education. This status continued until August 1983, when it was again made into a governmental body in the Constitution of 1982. Following the military coup d'état of 1980, Dialects Modern Standard Turkish is based on the dialect of Istanbul. Dialectal variation persists. In spite of the leveling influence of the standard used in mass media and the Turkish education system since the 1930s. Academically, researchers from Turkey often refer to Turkish dialects as ajiz or sive, leading to an ambiguity with the linguistic concept of accent, which is also covered with these words. Projects investigating Turkish dialects are being carried out by several universities, as well as a dedicated work group of the Turkish Language Association. Work is currently in progress for the compilation and publication of their research as a comprehensive dialect atlas of the Turkish language. Rumelice is spoken by immigrants from Rumelia, and includes the distinct dialects of Diliman, Dinla, and Adakala, which are influenced by the theoretized Balkan language area. Kibris Turksazi is the name for Cypriot Turkish and is spoken by the Turkish Cypriots. Aegean is the dialect of Aegean. Is spoken in the Aegean region, with its usage extending to Antalya. The nomadic Yorick tribes of the Mediterranean region of Turkey also have their own dialect of Turkish. This group is not to be confused with the Yorick nomads of Macedonia, Greece, and European Turkey who speak Balkan Gagauz Turkish. Guni Dogu is spoken in the southeast, to the east of Mersin. Dogu, a dialect in eastern Anatolia, has a dialect continuum. The Meskhetian Turks who live in Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan and Russia as well as in several Central Asian countries, also speak an Eastern Anatolian dialect of Turkish, originating in the areas of Kars, Ardahan, and Artvin and sharing similarities with Azeri Turkish. The language of Azerbaijan. The Central Anatolia region speaks Orta Anadolu. Karadniz, spoken in the eastern Black Sea region and represented primarily by the Trabzon dialect, exhibits substratum influence from Greek in phonology and syntax. It is also known as Laz dialect. Kastamonu is spoken in Kastamonu and its surrounding areas. Karaman liquor is spoken in Greece, where it is also named K alpha rho alpha mu alpha nu lambda eta delta iota kappa alpha. It is the literary standard for Karamanlides. Phonology. Consonants. The phoneme which is usually referred to as yumuşak G, and written G in Turkish orthography, represents a vowel sequence or a rather weak bilabial approximant between rounded vowels, a weak palatal approximant between unrounded front vowels, and a vowel sequence elsewhere. It never occurs at the beginning of a word or a syllable, but always follows a vowel. When word final or preceding another consonant, it lengthens the preceding vowel. In native Turkic words, the sounds C, J, and L are in complementary distribution with K and L. The former set occurs adjacent to front vowels and the latter adjacent to back vowels. The distribution of these phonemes is often unpredictable, however, in foreign borrowings and proper nouns. In such words, C, J, and L often occur with back vowels. Some examples are given below. Consonant D voicing. Turkish orthography reflects final obstruent D voicing, whereby a voiced obstruent, such as BDD, is D-voiced to PTTK at the end of a word or before a consonant, but retains its voicing before a vowel. In loan words, the voiced partner of K is pagram. In native words, it is pagram. This is analogous to languages such as German and Russian, but in the case of Turkish, the spelling is usually made to match the sound. However, in a few cases, such as at, name, the underlying form is retained in the spelling. Other exceptions are ode, fire, versus, oat, herb, sack, sheet metal, sack, hair. Most loan words, such as kit up above, are spelled as pronounced, but a few such as hac, haj, sad, happy, and yad, strange, also show their underlying forms. Native nouns of two or more syllables that end in k, in dictionary form are nearly all, per gram, in underlying form. However, most verbs and monosyllabic nouns are underlyingly k vowels. The vowels of the Turkish language are, in their alphabetical order, a, e, I, o, u. The Turkish vowel system can be considered as being three-dimensional, where vowels are characterized by three features: front and back, rounded and unrounded, and vowel height. In fact, the vowel e, being the fronted version of a, is often pronounced a. The only diphthongs in the language are falling diphthongs, usually analyzed as a sequence of j, and a vowel. Vowel harmony. Vowel harmony is the principle by which a native Turkish word incorporates either exclusively back vowels or exclusively front vowels. The pattern of vowels is shown in the table above. Grammatical affixes have a chameleon-like quality, and obey one of the following patterns of vowel harmony. Twofold. The locative suffix, for example, is da after front vowels and da after back vowels. The notation da squared is a convenient shorthand for this pattern. Fourfold. The genitive suffix, for example, is in or in after unrounded vowels, and un or un after the corresponding rounded vowels. In this case, the shorthand notation in for is used. The following examples, based on the copular dir4, illustrate the principles of vowel harmony in practice. Turkey erde, kapıda, budgunda, paltada. There are some exceptions to the rules of vowel harmony. In compound words, the vowels need not harmonize between the constituent words of the compound. Forms like bu plus gun or bar plus kent are permissible. In addition, vowel harmony does not apply in loanwords and some invariant affixes, such as your and bill. Some loanwords do, however, exhibit partial or even complete vowel harmony. There are also a few native Turkish words that do not follow the rule, such as an. In such words, suffixes harmonize with the final vowel. Thus andir. Many loanwords from Arabic and French, however, take front vowel suffixes after final back vowels. For example, hal size less than hal plus size 4, listless, metul dur less than metul plus dir4, it is unknown, halfla less than half plus la squared, letters. The road sign in the photograph above illustrates several of these features. A native compound which does not obey vowel harmony. Orta plus goy. A loan word also violating vowel harmony. Viaduc. The possessive suffix I4 harmonizing with the final vowel. Viadagu. Stress is usually on the last syllable. Exceptions include some suffix combinations in loan words, particularly from Italian and Greek, as well as interjections, adverbs, and many proper names. While the aforementioned loanwords are usually stressed on the penultimate syllable, the stress of proper names is less predictable.